What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Fireside Giants. I'm your host, Anthony Rivardo, and today we're going over another mock draft. Today, going over a mock draft from ESPN's Todd McShay. Going to be discussing a really strange mock draft that he has out there with the Giants not taking an offensive tackle in the first round and instead going with an underrated edge rusher and a wide receiver. Very interesting. So make sure to leave a like if you enjoy this video, and obviously tell me what you think of it in the comment section down below. What do you think of this mock draft from Todd McShay that we're about to dive into? But without further ado, let's go ahead and discuss. So, of course, at number 1 overall, the Jacksonville Jaguars take an easy pick. This is a no-brainer. They go with Aiden Hutchinson. Now, Tom McShay mentions that he debated having them go after an offensive tackle, Ike Ekwonu, with the number 1 overall pick, but instead had them go with maybe the safest prospect in the draft in Aiden Hutchinson. Can't go wrong there. But number 2 overall, things get a little bit interesting. He has the Detroit Lions going with Kyle Hamilton. Now, I know Kyle Hamilton is considered by many to be the best prospect in the draft, maybe just the best player in general, but it's interesting to see the Detroit Lions taking a safety at number 2 overall. I've heard a lot about them potentially going with a quarterback in Malik Willis, or maybe going with an offensive tackle, an edge rusher. I've seen them go many ways in all these different mock drafts, but I haven't seen Kyle Hamilton get mock drafted all the way at number 2 before. This is pretty interesting here. And then number 3 overall, this is where the run on offensive tackles begins. Tom McShay does not have Evan Neal as the first tackle taken off the board. Instead, he has Ekwonu out of NC State going number 3 overall to the Houston Texans. And then number 4, Evan Neal to the New York Jets. So that's a big run on tackles that the Giants are unfortunately going to get the short end of the stick on. If tackles go at 3 and 4, and then the Giants pick at 5, they're going to be very disappointed. But I still think there's another tackle that they would consider taking over there with the 5th overall pick. Before allowing themselves to go outside of the top 10 without taking an offensive tackle. I think it's almost a guarantee that the Giants are taking a tackle in the top 7 selections. But Todd McShay has the Giants going at number 5 with Trayvon Walker, defensive end out of Georgia. Now, mind you, Kayvon Thibodeaux has not been picked yet in this mock draft. He is available for selection with the 5th overall pick. But Todd McShay has him going with Trayvon Walker instead. Trayvon Walker is obviously a tremendous talent. He's a Georgia product. And, of course, the Giants have Azeez Ojulari, who's also a Georgia product. So there's a connection there. That makes sense. And the whole concept here is you've got a real speed rusher in Azeez Ojulari on one side, and you get a little bit more power with Trayvon Walker over on the edge on the opposite side. Now, Trayvon Walker is 272 pounds. He had an amazing combine. He ran a 4.51 second 40, 6.89 second three-cone drill, and he's really one of the few players in the draft that can generate the amount of power that he does. I've seen a lot of people say he's going to move inside, be a defensive end, maybe more similar to what Leonard Williams does for the Giants defense, but he is projected here as an edge rusher / defensive end. I'm not exactly sure how well he would really fit into Wink Martindale's defensive scheme. 3-4 scheme. Outside linebackers do the primary pass rushing capabilities on this defense. Azeez Ojulari is going to be the primary pass rusher. Would Trayvon Walker be able to transition to being that full-time edge rusher as a linebacker, or is he going to move inside, as many predict he will, because he is a very powerful pass rusher, not the most speedy, not the most athletic. I mean, he does have some incredible athletic ability, 10-foot 3-inch broad jump, 35.5-inch vertical. He's got some really good ability, and Walker had a lot of QB hits, 6 sacks and 29 pressures last season. He was an active pass rusher, maybe not the best, maybe not the most productive first-round draft choice, but personally, I'm not going with Trayvon Walker at 5 overall if Kayvon Thibodeaux is on the board. Now, I understand there are concerns with Kayvon Thibodeaux and potentially his attitude and his demeanor. There's character traits that have been a real controversial subject ever since the combine. Some people really loved his interviews. Some people really disliked his interviews. And I've heard and I've read some articles where there's some NFL insiders saying that NFL teams did not like his interviews, but others are saying they love his overconfidence because they think it'll make him great. So he's a very controversial figure right now. But for me personally, Kayvon Thibodeaux is such a great talent. If he's on the board at number 5 overall, that's the edge rusher I'm taking. I'm not going with Trayvon Walker in this situation. So I disagree with Tom McShay on this selection, but I do think it's interesting. And I do think when you're looking at mock drafts, it's more important to take a look at which position they have each team taking. And it seems like, everybody's going to have the Giants going either offensive tackle or edge rusher at the top of the draft. I've seen cornerback a lot. But one position that I have not seen a whole bunch is wide receiver. And Tom McShay has the Giants going with a wide receiver at number 7 overall. So number 5 overall pick, he had the Giants taking Trayvon Walker. But number 6 overall, this is where the offensive tackle comes off the board, Charles Cross to the Carolina Panthers. Now, me personally, I understand Ike Ekwonu, Evan Neal in a class of their own in according to most analysts, right? The Giants missed out because they went off the board at 3 and 4. But number 5, I feel like they just have to take the best tackle available. And Charles Cross would have been that selection. And for me personally, yes, I would have gone with Charles Cross over Trayvon Walker in this mock draft because I think it is of the utmost importance for the Giants to get an offensive tackle to pair on the right side of the line opposite of Andrew Thomas at left tackle. So Charles Cross would have been my selection there, or Kayvon Thibodeaux if he's on the board. But in this mock draft, Kayvon Thibodeaux doesn't land with the Giants despite the fact that they have 2 opportunities to select him in the top 10. He's going to fall outside of the top 10 and go all the way down to the Seattle Seahawks at 11 in Todd McShay's mock draft, or I'm sorry, over to 9 to the Seattle Seahawks. But for me, the number 7 overall pick that the Giants take in this draft class, or this mock draft with Todd McShay, is really interesting, very controversial. He has them going with Garrett Wilson, wide receiver out of Ohio State. Now, I haven't seen many mock drafts where the Giants go with a wide receiver. I've seen plenty where they go offensive tackle, seen plenty with edge rusher, and I've seen a whole lot of them go with cornerback, Sauce Gardner. We took a look at him on the channel earlier this week. Make sure to go check that out. He's a really talented prospect out of Cincinnati, good cornerback there, man coverage guy. But with Garrett Wilson being the selection here at number 7, I understand the rationale behind it, as Todd McShay explained. Kenny Golladay led the Giants in receiving with only 521 yards. Evan Engram had the most catches on the roster with only 46. The next 2 on the list were running backs. Sterling Shepard, constantly injured. Kadarius Toney really struggled to stay healthy as a rookie, right? The Giants need to put more weapons around Daniel Jones if they want him to succeed in his 4th season in the NFL. But I'm not sure if I'm willing to go with Garrett Wilson at number 7 overall when the Giants have not addressed the offensive tackle position at number 5 overall, and they also didn't get Kayvon Thibodeaux at number 5 overall. See, I think, if we're the way that I would do this mock draft is number 5, I would just go with Charles Cross. You just take the best tackle available. And then at number 6, whatever the Panthers do, it's okay because you're pretty certain that at number 7, Kayvon Thibodeaux is going to be on the board and you can select him there. Now, Garrett Wilson is a tremendous prospect. He's super fast. I think he ran a 4.37 40. He's about 5'11". Some people give him a little bit of an Odell Beckham Jr. comparison at that height and that speed, right? Pretty similar there. And he's got great ball skills. He's a great run after the catch threat. He can create a lot of separation in his routes. Just has a lot of quick bursts and a really good body control and catch radius. So I like Garrett Wilson a whole lot. I think that he is a tremendous player, but I'm not sure if he's the player that the Giants need in the first round of this year's draft. They just took a wide receiver in the first round of last year's draft with Kadarius Toney. Now, he struggled to stay healthy, but they have to believe in him. He looks like a good, talented player. Daniel Jones really likes sharing the rock with him. I think that they need to build around the wide receivers that they have right now, add some pieces in the middle rounds. But personally, I don't think the Giants are in a position right now where they can select a wide receiver in the first round. I think that this is, an opportunity for them to address the offensive line. They have Andrew Thomas, tremendous. He's going to be the starting left tackle, hopefully for a long time. But what about left guard? What about center, right guard, right tackle? All of those really are question marks for the New York Giants. And they did make a little signing today. I think his name is Matt Gono, played with the Atlanta Falcons. Could potentially play at one of those guard positions, maybe at right tackle. He's got a little bit of experience doing all of those things, and he's a pretty decent pass protector, but he's been injured, and he also hasn't really stuck around in the NFL as a starter. I like the signing. I think Joe Shane's very clever for making that signing, but we'll see how that goes for the long term. I can't bank on this guy that they drafted, or that they signed, who's a former undrafted free agent, low-key guy, banking on him being a starter. That's what the Giants have tried to do in the past few years, bank on these middle, late-round guys and these undrafted guys to be starters, and a lot of them just have not panned out. So for the New York Giants, I think it's of the utmost importance with one of those top 7 selections that they have to draft an offensive tackle. And I do think that even if they're reaching on Trevor Penning, who goes, I think, at number 14 or something in this mock draft for Todd McShay, you keep going down. Yeah, number 14 to the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, he's not even supposed to be a top 10 pick, but I think the Giants might have to reach on an offensive tackle over taking a wide receiver. Now, I think there's plenty of talented players that the Giants could take in the top 7 without reaching on an offensive tackle, but I'm just not sure if taking a wide receiver is the best thing for the New York Giants right now, given the state of their roster and the amount of holes that they have all over the roster. I don't think they should be going for the flashy wide receiver that can hopefully put up 10 touchdowns in a season. I think personally, you got to fix the trenches in front of Daniel Jones, and you got to fix the opposing trenches as well. So Todd McShay did address the defensive line. He did address, with Trayvon Walker, who's got some ability to play inside and outside as an edge rusher. And I really like him as a prospect. Not sure if he's the best fit for the New York Giants. I prefer Kayvon Thibodeaux, but then Todd McShay just does not address the offensive tackle in this mock draft. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but I'd love to hear what everybody thinks down in the comment section below. Do you like this mock draft? It's a lot different from everything we've seen so far. Todd McShay thinking outside the box. Maybe the Giants do go wide receiver. What would you think of that down below? Garrett Wilson, great prospect, but what do you think of the Giants potentially drafting a wide receiver at the number 7 overall selection and foregoing an offensive tackle in the first round? And let me know what you think. Make sure to leave a like if you do enjoy this video. Subscribe to Fireside Giants for plenty of daily uploads, New York Giants news, rumors, draft interviews with prospects. We've done plenty of those, and we're excited to do plenty more in the future. So make sure you stay tuned to Fireside Giants for all of that great content. I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one, and let's go Giants.